kind of on hold with several of my projects. I've got a couple things I can do. I've got the bell housing that needs to be cleaned up. I've got the transmission that needs to be cleaned up and checked. I'm not looking forward to any of them just because they're so dirty, but that's just the way it is. I'll probably grab one of them and do something, but anyway, we're on hold. I'll spin the camera. We're on hold on the engine block because this front cam bearing, if it'll focus, you can see where the oil hole here, the oil hole right there is. There's two grooves, oil grooves, but if you look at all that scratching right there, that shouldn't be there. It's tore up pretty bad, so that tells me there was some chunks flowing through the oil system on this. The biggest thing is, without an oil filter on an engine, you just need to be really cognizant of when the last time you changed oil was and really do diligence in oil changes. Just change the oil. But anyway, I digress. We've been down that road. So we're on hold until I get cam bearings. I did order them. I think that's the only one I'm going to replace because I've mic'd the other ones and I've mic'd the cam shaft and they're well within their tolerance. So that's the frustrating part I'm finding with this engine. The issues I am finding are so far what appear to me to be pure neglect. Now the cracked valve, that I'm not sure. That might be a manufacturer's defect. It's been there forever. It's hard to tell, but I don't see any. There's no rotators on these valves, so they don't rotate. And I don't see, normally if you had a cracked valve and it was leaking, you'd see some signs of that leak in the seat, but I don't. But anyway, so we're done. You can't do anything on the head because I couldn't find a single valve that I dared order. There was some online, but they were manufacturers I don't even know of, and I don't believe some of them were even from the US. They were out of country. It wasn't going to do me any good to put a junk valve in here and have that trash on me. So I finally found an original set of valves. I had to get the whole set. So I ordered those. They're on their way. So the head and the block are both on hold until I get those two items in. The block is ready to start putting back together, but I got to get that cam bearing replaced so I can put the camshaft back in. So then I can start getting the crankshaft installed. And the main bearings, I've mic'd them and they show good. Now all I want to do is put them in and plastic gauge them. And oh, by the way, I did mention I don't have any idea where you could find plastic gauge. Well, lo and behold, I happened to do a search on Amazon, and Amazon has it. Anyway, there's the bell housing. That needs to be cleaned up and painted. The transmission's over in the other, I got that tucked out of the way here over in the other corner of the garage. That needs to be cleaned up. I'm getting low on low speed, smaller wire brushes. So I ordered some new, some sanding discs, some Scotch-Brite discs, and some wire brushes for my drill and my die grinder. So when they get here, I'll probably do some basic cleanup. There's a lot of scraping just to get a major amount of crud off of there. Okay, so here we have the bell housing. I'm going to start taking, I've got them loose, but I'm going to finish taking these motor mounts off, which are here. Same thing on the other side. Get those off of there and start cleaning it up. Alright, well, I apologize big time. I got a call from my sister. She's in the hospital with issues. Nothing major, but dealing with that, and had a couple other issues come up. All minor stuff, but still, I forgot. I had paused you, and when I came back in, I just went right to work with other stuff on my mind and didn't think to film the bell housing, but I got it painted, so I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. I did get it cleaned up the rest of the way and got a coat of primer on it. That's probably going to get painted the same color as the engine. There's miscellaneous other parts that I've got cleaned up, and they're primed and ready. And so those three things are cleaned up. Now I guess the next thing is attack this transmission. Okay, so I'm going to go over, get that transmission on the floor jack and roll it over here. All we're going to do with this is we're going to drain this old oil out. That's probably not the drain plug. No, it's not. Drain plug's back here. That's probably the fill plug, but it'll have to be in the vehicle set level before I dare fill it to the exact. I'll put some in it just to make sure there's some in it. But there might be a little bit of leaking over here. I can't turn it all the way around because of that shifting lever, but on this side, this plate right here, I believe that's a plate for putting your PTO on. If you have a PTO, if you had like a dump box, it would probably have a hydraulic or a PTO on here that would drive a hydraulic pump. But that, I believe, is what that plate is for, to put one on it. Quite a bit of sludge in the bottom of this, in this recess in this plug, so it's probably going to make me want to tear this thing apart. I really didn't want to. And now we're going to pull this one if we can get it without it leaking out there. It may, I don't know. See if it needs a little air. He's sucking air in there. Hey everybody, we're back to the transmission. You'll see that I've got the cover off, and I've pulled the base plug, I've drained it. I think that's where we left off last time. Put some diesel fuel in it, flushed it around a little bit. It feels like there's a lot of sludge in the bottom, so right now I'm going to spin you around because I'm going to pull the plate off and see what kind of sludge we have in there and what we're going to do to finish cleaning it out. It looks just like the crude oil that it was made out of. There's really no, I don't see any dirt in there. There's really no way a lot of dirt could get in there. I don't see any water. Water could potentially get in there through the shifting lever, though it shouldn't. I mean, with the cab on and everything working 100%, there should be no water in there. But this is just about what the motor oil looked like coming out of the engine. This is just from neglect and the low quality oils you had back in the day. I'm going to stick this back on. I want to put more diesel fuel in there and flush that around a little bit more. Alright, I turn the flash on. Got a little light here. You can see inside the transmission there, this is that PTO plate. There's a screw there, and there's a screw way up in, I think there was one up in that end. But obviously that plate's not going to come out, whoops, not going to come out this side. So you can see it's still dirty in there, so I want to get that cleaned up better. But that plate sits there, and the drain hole is right there. So there's just that little bit of room between it and the drain, and it's not tight all the way around, and it's got slits in it. See, it's perforated, slotted anyway. So the only guess I have is, so water's going to go to the bottom if it gets in there, and heavy stuff, dirt, etc., hopefully will settle to the bottom. It'll settle down below that plate into this small little area below it, and won't keep getting regurgitated up through the transmission whenever it's moving. So I'm going to pull this gasket and go make one. Get that plate cleaned up, this surface cleaned up, and get this back on. This gasket probably would be fine, but I have the gasket material. I'm here. I would much rather make a new gasket that I know is not going to leak. Okay, so this is that side PTO plate gasket we're going to be making. We're going to use this piece of cork as a gasket because I just found out I have just enough gasket making material for the top plate on that transmission. I thought I had 2 rolls. I only have 1. So, or what's left of 1. So I need to remember to order that next time I'm goofing around. But for the sake of doing it, because this is easily accessed underneath the truck if I needed to replace this gasket if it leaks, it's not a problem. The cover is a little harder to get to because that's right underneath the cab. The side plate where the PTO goes, which is this, is easy to get to. So we're basically going to trace this out. Plate's all cleaned up, gasket's made on there, and it's all back in place. So I'm going to go make the gasket. You saw me make this one. I'm going to go make the gasket for the top plate, and then hopefully I'll remember to turn the camera on and we'll show you putting the top plate back on. That's going to be a little trickier because we got to line up the shifting forks in the position that we want them. So we put 3 quarts oil in it. 80-90 weight, and like I said, at least it's got oil in it now. When we get it in the truck and get it squared up, I'll pull this and see how it looks, whether it's over full or not full enough. We'll find that out when we get there. But now what I want to do is I'm going to wad up a rag and stuff it in the top and plug that so it doesn't get a lot of dirt in it, because I'm going to wait at least until we're close to putting the cab on before I put that shifting lever in, There is a huge transmission panel that comes off the floor in the cab, so there's plenty of access, but I didn't pull it out through that. I pulled it out through the little access for the shifting lever, which was okay. We got it. We didn't hurt anything, didn't damage anything, but boy, it's still a little nerve-wracking trying to get that cab up, off, and over without hitting something and breaking it. But anyway, that's what we're going to do. We're going to wait on that. You know, tomorrow, who knows, tomorrow I might change my mind. But as of today, that's the plan. As opposed to the shifting lever, there's a rag going in there. I'm going to get this transmission painted up, cleaned up, painted up, and I'm ready to go back in and actually set aside. So anyway, that's enough boring you. I'm going to go back to cleaning. We'll see you on probably the next one.